Hello, welcome to the August 29 Tuesday London session live stream. So DXY, I got some levels marked already, just to show everyone. So the consolidation, which I had mentioned in a previous stream, is still continuing. So we saw a raid to the south of the channel, and now we are heading back up. So today probably my eyes will be on this level at 104.712, which is a weekly swing high here. We already took out this swing high, so probably the price or the value will be driven up towards the next swing high. On the daily it looks like this. So right now I expect even a pullback and then a continuation, or on lower time frames jump down to the 15-minute. We can see that already the two targets I had for this session are being taken out even before London opens. So I'll go ahead and add another mark here. But for now we don't have to worry about it. It's still quite a bit away. So let's see on the 5-minute time frame if we will get a turnaround from here, and then maybe dip into this fair value gap here a little deeper. It has been tapped, but only slightly, so let me mark that one too. Let me see. So yeah, the fair value gap down here is in sync with the 62% retracement level, which is part of the OTE zone. So if we take out this swing low right now, this would be where I have my eye on, then I will start looking at a reaction in this fair value gap and the OTE zone as general. Alright, let's have a look at EU. I already marked the Asia session high. Some other pivots that stick out is this one, and now we have the Asia session low here. Yeah, I would be surprised if just this Asia session low, which is approximate relative equal lows with this swing low here, but if I would be surprised if only this gets taken out and we do not dip under this swing low here. So those will be my criteria to get interested in a position in EU. And let's have a quick look at GU. in case we break up higher. This would be my first target, and then maybe I would want to take some profit in this 4-hour fair value gap too. So we see a raid has taken place under these relative equal lows. There was some liquidity under here, so now it grabbed that, and it's still struggling to get out of this area. So I will be watching the Asia session highs and the lows together with the pivot high here and the 4-hour fair value gap as potential targets. Let me set my alerts. I want to see at least a candle close under the low. If it breaks to the upside, touching it is okay. Alright, alerts set on EU, GU. Let me make sure everything is set on DXY. I mean, this alarm already triggered here, so guess I'll set myself an alarm a little bit above it in case it pushes up higher. I want to be notified, and until then, I mean, the next level I'm really interested in DXY at this point is under this swing low, so I already have the alarm there. Or if it pushes higher, and then I'll set myself an alarm up here. But for now, let's just wait until one of the alerts gets triggered. I'll just be looking at the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 on the side. These are not part of the official live stream or trading session. I just interested in seeing what the moves will be today. And while we wait for the alerts on EU and GU and DXY to trigger, we got some time here. So DXY is pushing further up. My alert just triggered. So let's see if we will get a reaction at this fair value gap here, or if yeah, the value will push up higher, take out these highs here. I think the further up scenario is more likely right now, but let's see. If DXY rejects in this fair value gap, there is no swing low until here, so hopefully it will reject, create a swing low around here, then make a higher high, maybe with a negative divergence, and then take out the swing low, give us the market structure shift, and then correct a little bit before pushing up higher, which would give us the opportunity on probably EU and GU to sweep the Asia low and then move further upwards while the XY is pulling back. So let's see. So we are seeing a reaction on the XY in this fair value gap. Quite energetic move so far. Let's see if there will be any reaction in these. But again, as I mentioned, the swing low I have my eye on. that I need to get breached before I take any action on this is down here. Let me check. Yeah, so there were some divergences. Momentum also potentially topping out here. The sweeps of the Asia session lows on both EU and GU were not deep enough to trigger my interest. I'll just be waiting for a bit more price action to develop, and then try to catch a trade into either direction. So DXY seems to be heading where I wanted to go. We may get another little wave up, and then the second leg down here, and I'll just keep an eye on how EU and GU react. And gonna be reading in the meanwhile. So for now I just mark the fair value gaps which I want to keep an eye on EU. I mean, the whole Asia range of GU is very tight. Not that interested in GU right now, but that can always change. But anyways, waiting for DXY, we will either see a wave up and then the second leg down. I'm pretty much looking forward to these equal lows getting taken out. And we have a lot of confluence here. There is a fair value gap in the OTE zone, more or less. It's under the 50%, so it's in a discount. We have equal lows here. So DXY should be heading here during London session. Unless, of course, it goes and takes out this swing high and closes above it, then we may be looking at another scenario. So if DXY, we still need to wait for one more candle close to get the newest fair value gap. But for example, while DXY, so if DXY does not take out this swing low in a more energetic manner and just closes the candle here, so we got one fair value gap here, and then starts moving back up into this higher fair value gap, and I see that it is likely to reject. I will look at the reaction when or if DXY reaches up here, and if EU would be in either of these fair value gaps at that time, where this takes place on DXY, in the anticipation that DXY is further dropping back to its 62% retracement level of the stealing range, I would assume that EU is going to push up higher. And let me see. Yeah, then maybe I'll be looking for longs down here if I see the confluence with the XY. Alright, so DXY's pullback is a little strong, still in the OTE zone, so we can now move our point of focus into here. So if DXY candles start closing under the 79% retracement level, then we may be looking at a totally different thing than I originally anticipated, as I think DXY is going to make a U-turn around here and then reach for maybe these highs here. But let's see. Okay, GU slightly swept the Asia low, now the high. Was not much to work with. And EU is currently rejecting in this fair value gap, while DXY is in the OTE zone. But let me do some calculations. So I think I'm gonna take half a position size short on EU if it gets back into the fair value gap, and gives me an entry at around 50% of that fair value gap. That I'm interested in a short, because if DXY does play out, and it's all developing a little fast, so I will wait for some more confirmation. If DXY is gonna revert from here, EU should be taking out the Asia lows and the other pivot low that I had marked on my chart. So maybe we can make some quick gains there. So in replays, usually you will see people arguing that this was the perfect entry, but in live trading it's not always that simple. In replay, we already know what is gonna happen next. So in this scenario, I did not feel confident enough to take a short, even though DXY was already in the retracement area where I was thinking it will go. But I still have to look for confirmation if candles will not push lower beyond the 79% retracement zone and start closing under it. So if we get another pullback into this fair value gap and DXY ideally is still above or just within this OTE zone, then I will pull the trigger on half a position size. I got filled on my half position short. So I'll be keeping an eye on these fair value gaps here, and if there's gonna be any reaction, especially in the one down here. and probably if price reaches down here, I'll secure my position with a stop loss at break even. So I'll set myself an alert, and I also want to see the reaction when price reaches here, if it reaches there, because it's the swing high that was just broken. If the sweep would have been more proper, and I was made aware that on some other brokers' charts this low was actually taken out, on my 8 cap, which is my broker chart, I did not see that happen. So for me the sweep did not happen, hence I have difficulty marking this as a market structure shift here, because on my chart there's just some relative equal lows that have been made. And no raid prior to that. So far the reaction in the OTE on the XY is good. Let's see if it can start staying above the 50% retracement level. That would be great in favor of our short position right now. But we could also see like a light push up, another touch of the OTE, or into another tap into the OTE, and then a further high. But let's see. So I'll set myself alert here and here. Very nice. The XY is pushing into the fair value gap here now. So let's see if it will just keep moving higher. And if the XY reaches into this fair value gap, then I'll move my stop loss to break even. Because if it rejects here, we may see EU just shoot up again. GU, sweep of the low, sweep of the high, now going back for the lows. Quite savage, but yeah, in between they were not so, nothing clean. That would have given me an entry, which I feel confident with. At the same time, the Nasdaq is also starting to dump, but today I will focus on EU here. Okay, so now DXY has reached the fair value gap. I am moving my stop loss for the EU position to break even. Let me just do that real quick here. All right, looking good. I mean, I actually moved my stop loss slightly into profit, just to make that clear, because I have to more or less calculate the spread between the price on the chart and the price my broker is actively offering buys and sells with. But basically, EU has reached the fair value gap at the same time DXY has. So if we see DXY rejecting here and do another dip in the OTE, I think if it rejects here, it will probably go beneath the 79%, so I'll probably exit my short just to secure some profits, which would look something like this on EU, and then go for the Asia high. So usually, if you watch some of the traders that use replay mode, since they already know, they will be way more confident and tell you all the theories that worked out or didn't work out. But in a live trading environment, this is the difference. We have to make live calls. And yeah, one could argue just stick to the system, stick to your setup. But I would rather secure 0.5 R than getting stopped out now. So it's not about emotions. Today there is some data coming out at 10 a.m. in New York, so it's already a relatively or comparably low potential trading day today. And for the rest of the week we will have a lot of heavy economic data coming out, so not expecting too much. Yesterday's session I didn't get any trade. Today's session I'm in half a position size short right now. So let's see. So the initial reaction of the DXY is exactly what I would want to see if I were hoping that this rollover will happen. Got right to the top of the fair value gap, but it's kind of ending in a wick. So let's see how the next candle, what the next candle will give us. So probably if price or DXY pushes back further in the fair value gap, but not above it, then I will close half of my position when EU is back in this fair value gap. I'm trading this on 2 accounts right now. So when I say I will close half of my position, I will basically close it on one exchange and leave the other one running. So since I'm positioned short, the ideal scenario for me now is a rejection here and a rejection here. So DXY going back upwards and EU rolling over here. So my decision to favor shorts is because my bias on DXY is rather to the upside. We got the OTE retracement, so now I'm looking for DXY to take out these equal lows and maybe even this swing high here. That's why I favored a short on EU, because the euro is represented in the basket of currencies that measure the DXY, the US dollar strength. So generally you will see it move in the opposite direction of each other. Not always. You can definitely have the euro and the dollar go up at the same time, but that doesn't happen during usual times. If there is like some economic data getting released, and I think a bunch of GDP, I mean country-based data is getting released early this week. Let me check. So yeah, the German consumer climate has been released at 2 a.m. New York time. So I guess yeah, this little dump here. But alright, let's see. So it's better to have a bias, and I know a lot of people struggle with it, and if I get the bias wrong, okay, then today I'll not have a winning trade probably. But at the same time, I mean, while I'm looking for more upside on the DXY, I also felt like since EU rejected here, yeah, it will probably sweep this swing low here, maybe even these equal lows. And so by combining my bias, my positive bias with the DXY, with the rather negative outlook on EU, at least intraday on the 5-minute chart here, that's why I favored shorts. But if it fails, probably later there will be some people in replay mode saying, yeah, here is the market structure shift, enter in this fair value gap, target the Asia high, bam, you got it. But yeah, live trading with my bias does not work that clean. So let's just have a bit more patience and see how it will play out. So I'm partially closing one of my short positions here, just to secure some profit, but it started looking good. DXY is pushing above the fair value gap, but there is still a tiny one here. Important will be that we get one or even better two candle closes above the fair value gap here on DXY, and then we can see what the reaction in this fair value gap here will be. Already one rejection, so the second one is, I don't want to say more likely to push through, but ultimately I think DXY is going to reach for these highs here. So that's why I hope that even if it's just this fair value gap, it will give EU enough of a push to reach the full TP. Starting to look good. The last hurdle to overcome is this fair value gap down here, but still 2 minutes 40 seconds left, so let's see. You can go ahead and move the stop loss even more into profit now. So ideally, for example, I would not want to see price get back into this fair value gap. So I will be adjusting my price just to down here, my stop loss. Let me just do that. So in hindsight, again, if you would be a very aggressive trader after the rejection here, assuming that the downward move will continue until here, which we still do not know if it will happen at this point. But if you were really aggressive, you could have entered the short here normally, and then when this fair value gap was created, in this wick was another chance for an add-on. In the last the stream, I think last week in one stream I did something like that where I just market bought an add-on. But yeah, today was not very clear. It's still not clear. And I did not take such an aggressive approach, but just for study purposes, this would have been if you had like super strong conviction that the move will play out. You could have entered an add-on here, which is what most of the replay artists will probably also tell you. So EU already closing under this fair value gap is good, but one candle close in which the next candle closes again against our position would not be so bullish. But if we get another candle close under the fair value gap, I think even if we reach back into this fair value gap from there, it will roll over. It would definitely add to my confidence. At the same time, yeah, I see that DXY is struggling in the same fair value gap it rejected once in already. So what I'm keeping an eye on is that DXY does not close under this fair value gap anymore. You may ask, what about this fair value gap? It already got tapped once, so it should be enough for at least a higher high here, take out the swing high. If it wants to come down back to this fair value gap, I'm okay with that. But any candle closes beneath would be a little bit concerning to me. this rejection in this fair value gap. If it holds, it will probably reach our target in the next 3 candles. If it rejects here, I've adjusted my stop loss. You could also adjust it a little bit lower to 1.08209, because if it gets through this fair value gap at this point, the price it would basically negate, or very low, the possibility would be very low that we would still reach the target within the London session, I think. Nice. So the alert on DXY just triggered. It's finally pushing through the fair value gap. We should be reaching our target relatively soon, if all goes well. On one of my exchanges, the TP hit already. Still waiting for the last push. I mean, at this point, you may as well either adjust your stop loss really low, like above this fair value gap, or manually exit if you're happy with your gains for the day. So this is from one of my exchanges. Here another one. The the lower one is from only a 25,000 prop firm account, so my positions are not as large there. But yeah, this concludes my stream. So we may still get the further dump, or not the dump, the further pull down here, as long as the price doesn't start closing above this fair value gap here anymore. I mean, it could even do a move like this, but at this point, I'm out of my positions and not interested anymore. I do one trade per session max FX. So now I will wait for the New York session, and probably I'm gonna skip the New York session today too, since there is some data coming out, the JOLTS report and consumer sentiment. I think it's not 8:30 news, but it's still like at 10 a.m. And the rest of the week is also very data heavy, so I'll either not be trading at all or very cautiously. I hope, depending on your broker spreads, you also reach full TP, and if not, you can just wait for a little bit. If you get stopped out here, it would still be probably above 1.5 risk to reward, but I'm quite sure that if you exit now manually, you will make some handsome profit, or if you just wait for the lows to be taken. All right, I think I'll see you in September next. There is no other trading day this week, and next week's schedule I still have to check. Thanks for joining, and see you again next time.